Welcome to the next episode of Over a Pint. Woo. This week we have Amy Youngren from North Group. So even though I just kind of introduced you, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone who might not know who you are?
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me in my place.
Yeah, thanks for having me in your own.
I'm Amy. I'm the founder of North Group Real Estate. We're a Toronto-based real estate team that has expansion locations in a few different areas. And it's the air show this weekend, so you're probably going to hear...
The jet's going to come by.
It's going to be a nice little interlude with the recording.
There's a sound guy, he can like mimic that, get it out.
Okay.
We'll be fine.
Okay.
So this week, since you don't actually drink beer...
I don't drink beer. But I'm excited to try what you've brought.
We have the Rickards Radler, which is the grapefruit, or for the French, the pamplemousse.
Ooh, has some fruit in it.
Yeah, so we're going to see what this is like. I've actually never had a Radler.
I know that isn't there like a way that you're supposed to pour beer? You're supposed to. There you go.
Yep.
Look at it. I even got it now.
This isn't really beer, so.
Okay. This is.
I just like beer flavored, fruity.
When you've never had beer and you're having your first beer at 11 a.m.
The earliest we ever filmed is 8:30.
Okay, well then all right.
That episode ended up not airing.
That went really well.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me over.
Yeah.
And coming on the show. It's not bad.
It's nice and refreshing.
Definitely a lot different than beer, but it works.
It's fruity.
Yeah. How was that for your first beer?
Yeah, it's good.
That works?
I'm good.
Good.
It's great. It's going to go well with my diet that I've got going on as well right now.
This is the perfect thing for that.
Yeah.
Well, we did have a guest on who drank kale smoothies for their episode.
Oh, I didn't know that was an option.
We don't advertise it.
Okay. Got it.
So how long have you been in the real estate industry?
I've been in the industry for 15 and a half years. In sales for 5.5 years. Before getting into sales, I was corporate in the real estate industry for 10 years, which was really amazing experience. Learned a ton, met a ton of people, gained some really valuable knowledge and expertise when it comes to how the business is really run from the corporate side of things, because at the sort of the head of every brand, if you will, whether that's a boutique company or a big brand like a KW or a Remax or Royal LePage, there's a corporate side of it.
Yeah.
And it's cool to understand that side of the business. And it also gave me a lot of opportunity to travel and to get really well networked and connected throughout Canada and the US. And so super grateful for that sort of season, if you will, but hit sort of the glass ceiling, if you will, that I felt I couldn't shatter. And went to an motivational leadership type breakfast that was full of entrepreneurs and realtors, and heard one line that somebody said, if you've outgrown the pot you're planted in, you need a bigger pot or you're going to die. And it kind of just pinpointed where I felt like I was at. That was on a Friday, and Monday morning I quit my job. I gave my notice, and that was 5.5 years ago.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's funny because it's similar because like I work corporate too. Like I was at one of the brands, and I remember I was sitting down.
That's right.
Yeah, I sat down for lunch with one of the like high up leadership guys, and we were chatting. We were talking with the guy who owns the company and like who was like mega wealthy, and he goes, "Yeah, but we'll never be like that." I was like, "I feel like I still could." I was like, "But I'm not going to do it working for someone." And that kind of like right there, that made up my mind. Just that one line of like, "But that'll never be us" type of thing. And I'm like, still could be.
Yeah.
So
that's not a good feeling or a good way to look at your future. But
so yeah, I was just like at that point I was out. So like, what made you then decide, all right, you're gonna become a sales rep from that?
I mean, so my whole that was a Friday, and then Monday I quit my job. I mean, I'd been thinking about it for a little bit, and I was in the industry, so I was exposed constantly to realtors and to what the opportunity for success in building a business and things like that. So it was just, I spent 10 years in the industry, and so I just decided that's where I want to stay. So that was what I wanted to do. It was just there wasn't another option for me for what I wanted to do with my life.
So I know with me, I jumped into sales first before going in the corporate side. And it took me like 1.5 years to kind of figure out how to structure my business, get it rolling to a point where steady flow of leads, steady flow of business type of thing.
Right.
for you, like, did you already know all that because you'd been in the industry for a while and you knew exactly how you wanted to set it up and run?
I didn't. I was a loosey-goosey, like I always say, like I was a realtor with a chicken with my head cut off, like my first year into my second, actually. The first year I just wanted to succeed so badly and to prove to myself that I could do it. And I didn't really have a ton of lead time, so it's not like I had like this knee-deep savings account, you know. So I just went for it. I sold. I was the realtor that I preach against now, to be honest. I sold real estate from Oshawa to Cambridge, leases, commercial, resale. I mean, you name it. I dabbled in it because I craved success, and I just wanted to throw myself into it and just see what I was capable of. But then the second year, I actually had been nurturing a long-term developer relationship when I was corporate, and it's something that I had always been super passionate about, which is development and pre-construction. And so I actually ended up landing a development project in my second year. We hit it out of the park, blew the project out of the water, and that year really focused on that, as well as some resale on the side. Worked with an agent who sort of worked alongside me on the resale side of things. Tried to sort of get a little bit, keep that going, if you will, but my main focus was this development project, and we did everything from hire the inside sales team to handle all of the staff and the administration of the project, marketing the project, and working with all the platinum agents. So it was an amazing experience, and yet still had a decent year in resale too. But that came and went. That project sold out. The year came and went, and it was a crazy year, by the way. It was like 364 to 365 days of work that year. It was nuts, keeping up with the resale side of things too. So that finished, the project was done, and I kind of looked at it like, all right, I can't just continue just kind of throwing myself into like what's going to happen this year. I need to build a business. So 3 years ago, I decided to figure out what that was going to look like. I didn't know exactly, but I knew I needed to follow sort of the model which was laid out, and that's to hire an administrator, which I did, and she's still with me to this day, and just the best thing that's ever happened to me, to be honest. And she runs our team and our business. So that was my first step 3.5 years ago.
So were you following, like, because I know like KW has that like model for teams. Is that the model you're following, or have you kind of found your own way as you're going and figured it out?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. So the model that I knew at the time, which is what still really exists today in our industry, is to start, your first hire should be your administrator, and that's where you should build from there. But typically then it's like, okay, then then a buyer's agent, then you know, and then you build from there. That's not the model that we follow. Like the agents that work with North Group can list or sell, do commercial, do residential, whatever they choose. We haven't built it out that way. So, but we did follow just in the fact that you should hire administration first, get that support, and then go from there.
Where does like most of your business come from now? Like, what are the different sources?
The majority would be kind of broken into, I would break it down like this. So lucky enough, they're already, you know, Sphere, past clients, referrals, that whole bucket there, it's definitely a very strong amount. And then the next bucket would be online. And then the third bucket would just be the grassroots, like the cold calls, the door knocks, the open houses, things like that. So we're pretty evenly distributed between all of those things.
And how much time, like, because I asked this question to all the team leaders, and it's wildly all over the place. Like, how much of your time is spent like prospecting for that versus like recruiting team members and managing the team? Like, how do you break up your day that way?
So I'm not as much in production this year as I have been in the past. 2016 and 2017 were my 2 full years in team building, and those years I was like heavily in production. So it was crazy. But it's really hard to do both, to be honest. And I don't feel like I actually can tell that I'm not doing a service to my clients, and I'm not giving them the level of client experience that we pride ourselves on as a team and want to create for our clients. So I do work with a few, and I work with a handful at a time, but that's about it. I'm never prospecting for new business though, unless I'm just doing like a team effort. So on Tuesdays we door knock as a team. So we call it Team Tuesdays. So, you know, once in a while I'll get out with the team and do that. Mondays we call Magic Mondays. We're on the phones, and so I'm on the phones with them, but it's most of the time I'm prospecting in another way.
Yeah.
So.
And how much time is like, because I know you guys are obviously expanding quite a bit, how much of your time then is spent recruiting like expansion partners, or are they more coming to you because you've built this brand?
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah.
It's not something, the one thing that I've really learned the hard way in our business is when we started our expansion model, which is basically just to explain, is that we have a Toronto-based real estate team as like a hub, and then we are looking to sort of replicate and build like smaller versions of teams then around the Golden Horseshoe and in like Southern Ontario, if you will. But when we first launched our vision and our concept, we were really hyper focused on like the geographical area. And when you get so laser focused on an area, like on where versus who, that can be detrimental. And so we've really pivoted our business into the who that we're going into business with, as opposed to where exactly do we want to be in business, because our model can be replicated anywhere in Canada, to be honest. But right now, so we're focused in Southern Ontario, and the right opportunities are coming. We're careful we don't want to grow too quickly. So we're trying to scale at like the right pace, if you will, with the right people.
And are you mostly looking for experienced agents who now just kind of who need a system, or how do you go about choosing like the type of agent you want to bring in?
Mm-hmm. So again, I think it really does come down to the who. We're not targeting, if you will, brand new agents out of school right now. We are looking for agents that do have a basic amount of experience, that are looking to elevate their business, elevate their experience with their clients, because they can tap into our platform, that are, you know, they're feeling it in the business. They're feeling the loneliness. They're feeling the lack of culture. They're feeling the lack of support when you're trying to do it on your own, or you're on a team that doesn't have those things. And both exist constantly. I mean, there's amazing teams out there that are, you know, doing it really well also, but there's plenty that aren't. So yeah, I would say an element of experience is more so what we're focused on right now, so that we can then take that and then help raise it.
Yeah. One of the things, because like you're obviously like the leader of North Group, but then like a lot of people look up to you as like a leader in the real estate industry too, which I know you don't like talking about always.
I know, I don't like it. It's so embarrassing.
But like, how much like do you spend on like kind of that leadership development stuff, and do you like look to people to help you with that side of it, or how are you going about that?
The one thing that I know that I've done right, which I don't think is a lot of things, to be honest, I always say like, check out my crown. It has many jewels of failure, and I keep getting more of them. Is that I have been coached right from the beginning. I know without a doubt that in order to be better, I needed to be constantly held accountable and to be leveled up. So I don't even remember your question, but I think
about growing as a leader.
Yeah, just growing as a leader. I mean, I'm constantly putting myself in positions where I'm uncomfortable and I'm being coached out of my comfort zone. So, because that's where the magic happens. That's where the growth happens. I heard a line actually when I first got into the business that I never really understood until probably the last year. And that's that your business will grow to the extent that you do. And we put so much focus, and yes, of course, I understand the importance of like staying consistent to lead generation and follow up and all those types of things. But the more time and energy and focus we put on to developing ourselves, the rest will translate and those skill sets will transfer. So I spend a ton of money on personal development and leadership development, reading, coaching, conferences, events, and yeah, it definitely pays off.
So from your perspective, like when you look at the way you've set up your team success you've had, there's very few in the industry kind of at that level. So where do you look to for that help, since like kind of the majority, like a lot of even the coaches that are out there never even got to where you were or where you are now? So how do you choose, like, who do I look up to for that help of getting better?
So I was heavily coached on sort of business development and accountability that way for, you know, the first few years of my business. But then I actually went through like a massive business hit late last fall. So my business partner at the time, he decided that he was no longer going to be in business with North Group the day that we were about to make a massive announcement in the industry. And there's a lot more to it, and it's messy, but it doesn't matter at this point. It was a shock and a blow, and I had the chance then at that particular moment in time, because it was so out of left field, to really decide how do I want to do this moving forward, and is this what I really want as well. And so at that moment, I was actually coming to the end of a contract, like more of a business development coaching contract. And I was just really looking, I knew I wanted to be coached, and I was trying to figure out what it is that I needed at the time, but you don't know what you don't know, right? And then honestly, I mean, everything happens for a reason, and it's why it's so important to just stay really connected in our industry and to know people, because you just never know who you're going to be able to help and who's going to be able to help you. And somebody just randomly reached out to me at the end of last year just to check in and just to say, how's it going and whatever. And we started talking and kind of explained a little bit about what's going on in my business. And they just said, I know exactly who you need to talk to. And they connected me with a leadership coach that has really helped to reframe mindset and strategy, and just really like how you think, how you talk, how you recruit, how you lead around team building. And it's been a game changer for me.
And do you do one coach? Because like I've talked to a lot of people who run successful businesses, and I've seen there's two schools of thought on the coaching side. One is just get a coach and commit to that coach. Mm-hmm. The other that I've seen people do and do it really well as well is, okay, here's a problem, I'm gonna find a coach for that problem. So do you go more like all in on someone specific, or do you kind of like identify an issue in your business and then find a coach for that and work with them to solve that?
So we've had two coaches up until just recently. I was being coached more from like a leadership and a personal development side. And then we had a sales coach who was coaching the team on things like habits and scripts and their activities and lead generation and things like that. And then of course I was a part of that as well, because I'm like knee deep in the trenches with everybody. So that's kind of how we've divided it up to this point. And we're switching it up regularly. I find with agents that the foundation has to stay consistent, but kind of how you bring that foundation about has to be constantly evolving, or else they get bored.
So I know was it this August you won the Innovator Award, or July?
We did, yeah, July.
So you won the Inman like most innovative team in North America, or was it the world? I don't remember.
In the world.
The world. The most innovative in the world.
Hello.
For 2018. So what are you guys doing that is innovative versus what others in the industry are doing?
So I mean, I think.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. By the way, I think I shook like for like that entire day. I was in a meeting. My phone was actually like this, like in a meeting, and I came out of it and I turned it over, and I'm surprised my phone didn't break. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. Like, people were obviously at the conference and then. Texting, Facebook messaging, calling, like missed calls, and our operations manager, she's like, oh my god, and everybody was just like, congratulations. I was like, what is going on? I actually forgot we were nominated. So it was the craziest day, and I was so blown away. I feel strongly that we won that award based off of when you just like look at North Group and what we've accomplished overall in such a short period of time. Is it so phenomenally different than what anybody else is doing or has done? No, I don't think it's that. But I think that when you look at the success of our rebrand to North Group, our growth and how we are innovating when it comes to how we're growing and how we lead, and then really and then video marketing has been a massive play for us. we built our brand off of video marketing. 4 years ago, when we launched into video marketing, nobody was doing video marketing. So we have a couple years of a platform of like, you know, the industry seeing what we're up to when it comes to like property marketing, and now with like launching new locations and just doing it a little bit differently. We need to innovate there even more than we already have, and I'm excited about that, and we have some cool plans for that coming into 2019. But yeah, I think it's kind of like a little bit from like the video marketing, the marketing side of things, our brand exposure and how we did that. We really successfully rebranded from a name that was known in the industry to a brand new name that now everybody knows even stronger without an ounce of loss of momentum. In fact, it like propelled us even further.
All right, so I know you do a lot of video. Right now, are you doing most of that in-house, or do you bring in an outside videographer?
So we're doing both. We're doing like where you just have a stabilizer and you're walking down the street, or you're in the office and you're doing it yourself. And then we also have a company that we hire too. So we're doing a little bit of both. Yeah.
Are you gonna eventually do like a D-Rock, like get your own daily Amy video going up and having someone follow you around?
I don't know.
I'm deciding.
I think I need to get a little more confident on camera to do that. And I mean,
only one way to do that, just get on.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, I used to be so scared to just get in front of the camera to do like our regular marketing that we're doing now. And now the thing that, and I like finally like, well, we went to the same course together, and like my story.
I remember how nervous you were just getting up in like a room of like 12 of us.
I know. And so I think now I need to just really get over my fear of like lives and stories and things like that, because you're just, I don't know if it's a female thing or what, you're always just like, do I look okay? Do I, is this angle okay? Am I going to say, what are people going to think? And at the end of the day, I just really realized that like in leadership and in just in business in general, like the more authentic and relatable that you can be, the better it is. People just like, it's like even kind of like what you teach when it comes to like Facebook advertising, like the less adsy that you can make it look, the better the response. And the more real you can be, the better the response. I don't even know if those two things really correlate. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's why like this show for me is, I think, worked better. Because it was actually part of the reason I did it. I was sitting down actually with Kelly Scar, and he saw a video I did.
Love that guy.
When I get on camera, just like if you put this camera in front of me, I'm super like wooden. Like I'm one of those people who just doesn't do well that way. And he's like, but then we were sitting down over a beer. He's like, where's this guy on camera? Like, you're so like engaging and fun when we're talking over a beer, but you're shit on camera. Like that's what I love about him. He's very direct about it.
I was just gonna say, he probably said those exact words.
Yeah, no, he did.
Maybe even a little bit more R-rated.
And then I was like, you're not wrong. And then as I was like thinking, and I thought about like, I should just do that. Just film me over a beer with someone. And like, and I've noticed a lot of people now versus like the videos I used to do being like, you're the same guy that I see on camera that I see here. And that's like, I guess what I've been going for is like, literally just be the same person on both.
Yeah, and you have,
Yeah, when I get on camera, it's not. If I'm just standing, like if I just put this camera on me right now and just start talking to it, that's where like that is a weakness for me.
No, I hear you. And it takes practice. It really does. And
so I know like you get invited a lot for speaking now. So how do you decide, because like obviously running the business takes up a lot of time. How are you deciding like which gigs in terms of like going to speak on, which conferences to go to? How do you decide to like split that part of your time?
So I decided that in 2018 I wasn't going to do any. And so that was a really hard business decision, and I had to cancel 2 actually paid speaking engagements and a couple of others, because we went through a major period of transition with our business, and I knew it needed my undivided attention. And the shiny lights and the up on stage and all those things seem a lot, they're cool and they're exciting, and they actually really challenge me too, personally and professionally. But I knew that I needed to stay laser focused, and I think to this day, and I'm sure anyone that's listening to this wouldn't disagree, like the hardest thing to learn in business and as a leader is how to say no and when to say no. So yeah, I decided that the first 9 months of this year would be like 0 commitments that way, which is why I wasn't at the Inman conference in order to actually receive our award and things like that. And these were hard decisions to make, paid speaking opportunities and things that, typically would be like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. That's going to build our brand and build my name. And but I had to make some decisions both personally and professionally in the last 9 months that were hard, but I knew I did the right thing.
Do you put a lot of work into kind of separating like the North Group brand from like the Amy Youngren brand? Because like those are like when you're speaking, that could be just as much like the Amy Youngren brand, personal brand versus North Group, which could be a completely different thing. Like, do you do that intentionally, or do you have a plan there?
I'm working on that plan. I don't have it right now though, but I'm working on it, and that's one of my goals by the end of 2018 actually. I'm such a firm believer that you are your brand though, and that I want people to, when they think North Group, I want them to associate that, like me, with that. But I also don't want them just to think, when they think North Group, to think Amy Youngren. I want them to think every single agent that has provided them with the client experience that like caused them to want to work with us again and send referrals and to brag on their experience. And so, which is why one of the many reasons why we are branded the way we are, so that it's not attached to Amy Youngren and my name or face
it's
or any of those things.
Group.
No, it's not. And there's a reason behind that. So, but yeah, as far as my personal name and brand, I think it's contributed to it for sure. And as far as what it's going to be for the future, I'm kind of working that through right now.
I'm going through the same thing. Like, I know that's what I'm trying to figure out is like the Just Sell Homes versus Andrew Fogliato. It's like up until I'd say even about a year ago, nobody was hiring Just Sell Homes. They were just hiring me. So I've been really trying hard this past year to push more towards they're hiring Just Sell Homes.
Right.
And I think like that's the only way to like really kind of take it to that next level.
Yeah.
So that's where we're putting a lot of work into.
No, I hear you. And my number one focus right now from a business perspective is North Group and the people that make North Group, which is our phenomenal team. So anything like I eat, sleep, and breathe. How do I on a daily basis and our staff make our platform and their experience that much better, so that their clients' experiences can be that much better. So
one of the problems in the industry is like the shiny object syndrome. Where it's like, oh, DocuSign, oh, but Dotloop, oh, but this, and then it's like, oh, then there's this AI coming, and like all these different tools. Like, how do you evaluate and bring tech into your business, or just even non-tech?
I don't. I'm like, Sarah. I'm not. I hate the fact that I'm admitting that as an innovator of the year, like I'm not that technology based. We as a team are for sure. Like everything that we do centers around technology. Our entire platform is all tech based too. Everything from our pre-listing software to like how we communicate as a team, like everything's technology based. But yeah, there's a million and one shiny objects in the industry. Honestly, I know that that's not my strength. I actually did it. I shouldn't say that. I know that it's not my strength to dive into it, but I know very quickly how to vet out whether something's going to be a distraction or not, or whether or not it's just like the next shiny object. Because that's what I did in my corporate job. Strategic partnerships, vendor relationships, things like that. But I have a kick-ass operations manager who's so tech savvy and systems oriented, so she really helps, and she helps keep me focused too. Like she'll flat out say like, no, we cannot like bring one more new technology or product in the next quarter. And we're working really hard right now on just making sure that our foundation is really ironclad so that we can continue to scale. So
And then I forgot my follow-up, but I had one.
It's okay.
It was around
technology.
That idea. Yeah, it was on the tech side. Oh, I remember what it was.
Okay.
Because I talked about it in some of them. This is why I don't do live.
Okay. Even if you did, it doesn't matter. People
it still works. It's authentic.
Yeah. Right?
So when you're looking at technology, because like you're with KW, and KW like they're the tech company now. They're not a real estate company. Like, how much do you look at brokerage tech versus bringing in your own that you kind of own and control?
So I would say that that's changing with how KW is evolving as a company with their technology. We were really lucky, actually. We were one of 2 teams that got, in Canada and KW that got invited to a private mastermind with Gary Keller just recently to really weigh in on and talk about the new technology and the products that they're bringing out for the industry. So I sent Sarah, our operations manager, to that because she's the one with the brains in our team. So I think that I would honestly say that up till this point, it's so phenomenal what they're launching, what they're bringing down the pipeline, that we will innovate with it, or we will pivot with it. But up till that point, we were very much more like what's best for our team. We have a couple of technologies that have been major game changers for us. Like we communicate on Slack. Slack has been such a game changer. Yeah. Honestly, if you're in this industry and you're not using Slack, get on it. We put
if you have a team.
Yeah, if you have a team, you don't. Yeah. But we did it. So we introduced it when it was just 5 of us, and it worked really well. And we scaled from that.
It makes sense.
For sure. But yeah, so as a small team, we developed that. So then we have channels, which the entire communication is based on channels, it's called. So we have channels for all of our main categories, which would be our different teams. So our Toronto team, our Brampton team, our Mississauga team, our future teams that are coming now have their, so they'll remain nameless until we announce them.
How many are coming?
and then we have an all team channel. But what's really cool about it for real estate is that we have a channel for every single one of our deals. So we put every seller transaction and every buyer transaction in its own channel, and then only the applicable people are invited to that. So the listing agent or the buyer's agent, and then all of the operational team and or their team leader if needed. And it is completely cut down on email, completely cut down on it's awesome.
Our intra-team email now is almost non-existent. Like the only emails between our team is like a client emails us, and we just keep it in that thread sometimes because it's including the client.
No, it's been such a game changer. We use we were talking about technology. We use Asana for all of our checklists,
and it integrates so well with Slack.
It's amazing. Yeah. Honestly, it's amazing, and everything pivots around. You can set an effective list date, and then everything will pivot around that. And we spent a ton of times. I shouldn't say we. Our operations team, because I can't take the credit, spent a ton of time setting that up. And honestly, it's just been such a game changer. And it's such a need. I literally just had coffee with an agent yesterday. I was like, Amy, can I pick your brain? Because it's so hard. You don't know where to start, right? When you're, a 2-person team or a small team, and you want to set up your systems and your tools, but it's hard. It takes time.
How do you respond to that type of? Because I'm sure you get them all the time. Hey, can I buy you coffee and pick your brain? Or can I take you to lunch? How do you respond?
Those are hard.
I'm sure you get probably even more than I do.
No, I've completely built myself and my business around wanting to support others. I truly believe the Jim Rohn quote that if you help enough other people get what they want in life, you'll always have what you want as well. There does have to be a balance, though. Yeah. There does. And there's ways to do it more efficiently. And so I've been working on things like that, such as conference calls, coffees that are strategic, where you think there could be potential future opportunity, or, if it's, agents that are local and they want to connect, then doing a couple people at a time and just saying hey, let's just mastermind together. But it's hard. It's hard.
Do you ever get approached by people asking for you to coach them on growing their team?
I do, yeah. And I don't feel that I'm there or have earned that opportunity yet. So right now we have multiple smaller teams that I'm trying to work really closely with. And I don't even have it all figured out. That's what I do love about North Group and about the partners that I have and how we're growing too, is that everybody knows it's not going to be perfect and it's not going to be easy, but when you're like a family, you don't quit when it gets hard. You kind of hunker down and fix it, right? So that's the culture that we've built.
So if someone was looking, especially with whether it's a new agent or someone who's been in the industry a while, when do you think it makes sense for them to join a team? Because just as an example, say someone was doing just them and an assistant, 30, 40, 50 deals a year, they're making pretty good money.
Yeah.
like, when at that point would it make sense for them to say like join a North Group versus starting their own kind of brand that way?
Yeah, so I think you either decide in your business that you are more passionate about helping other people succeed and other people hit their goals than you build a team, or you join a team.
Yeah.
Or just like stay like a really strong top producing, single agent with maybe one buyer's agent and one administrator. I think that there's like this misleading concept, or if you will, that's in our industry right now, that's that everyone should start a team, and I don't believe that at all. I think it's really detrimental to start a team unless you eat, sleep, and breathe. How do I make these people's lives better? How do I create a better platform so that they can sell more real estate and smash their goals and build the life by design that they crave? And that they can do it in a way that makes it easier for them and more fun and more supportive. Because if not, then if you build a team focused on how can I leverage, how can I scale, how can I make more money, it'll work for a time, but it won't for the long haul. My opinion. That's just my opinion.
And I'm curious to this side from like obviously your perspective, which would be biased since you're North Group, but like I've seen like successful agents looking at joining North Group. So what like the value of doing that versus their own in that way, like they're doing really well, they do want to start a team. Why not start their own brand they could grow that would essentially compete with North Group versus joining North Group and kind of coming under your brand?
We really like the partners that we're building teams with, the agents that are coming on that are becoming partners and building teams within North Group. Our mentality is further, faster together. We can just do so much more together. At the essence, that's what it's about. We've created a model that would attract a top producer to want to build a team within the North Group brand, because of how we've established it and set it up. And man, oh man, this business is lonely. I mean, we all know, like, it's simple, but it's not easy. And those days when it's hard, and those days when it's not easy, and those days when you have to start from scratch, you can be a top producing agent and then look and say, like, what is it going to cost me in time and resources to take that step back to establish what North Group has now done in the last few years, and the foundation that's been built, and then weigh, whether or not plugging into our system makes sense.
5 years from now, what does North Group look like?
Like North Group Hawaii? No, just totally joking.
Where can I learn to surf?
Yeah, exactly. North Group Costa Rica. Yeah. No, I'm totally joking. Actually, our vision
Maybe
is...
you shouldn't be.
I shouldn't be joking, I know.
Yeah. Should do Hawaii.
Yeah.
North Group might not make sense for Hawaii. Maybe you got to be like within West Group, but...
Yeah, exactly right. No, we're pretty excited about our vision. Our growth plan really it does definitely encompass the Golden Horseshoe to fill in teams within around the Golden Horseshoe, and we have a couple more locations coming in the upcoming future. But we've actually broadened that, so we're very open to conversations in all of Southern Ontario. To be honest, like that's because the right who is coming across our path, and you don't want to turn down opportunities and the chance to go into business with incredible individuals when they're the right who, just because your mind was so set on like a geographical location, right?
Yeah, and I saw that you are doing something really cool with Give Back Homes.
Yeah,
Could you explain a bit about what that is?
Yeah, so Give Back Homes is a US-based charity that has been completely actually established for the real estate industry. But they didn't have a partner in Canada. And when I'm so passionate about giving back, and I just truly believe that, generosity and giving back is like ammo and fuel for life in general. I've been through some difficult times, and I can honestly attribute getting through them to staying in a place of generosity and gratitude, giving back through those difficult times that helped keep me centered and keep me moving forward. So we want to foster an environment. One of our core values of our team is always choosing generosity. And so we wanted to attach ourselves to an organization where we could be constantly doing something to give back. However, we looked at a number of different opportunities locally, and they just weren't the right fit. And so when I looked closer at Give Back Homes, the thing that actually got me super excited about it was that it resonates with the real estate industry because it's building homes. But we were able to because we're their first Canadian partner, we were able to work with them in such a way that now we can do a local build as opposed to an international build. And for me, that was something that we wanted, that we were super excited about, because we want to do something right here in the GTA for a local family in need. So now we've partnered with them. We're going to be doing fundraisers and initiatives in addition to taking a piece from every transaction. So now all of our marketing does center around signage and materials and things like that let the consumer, and then of course potential clients, know that a portion of their sale will go towards this build. So we actually have our first build, we have our first fundraiser and initiative later this year, and then our first build next year in the spring. So we're excited about that.
That's fun.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed, at least with like a lot of, because I've been studying a lot of industries too, is that instead of like going to big conferences, it's like small masterminds. So you get like 10 to 12 people in similar situations. So like for you to be like team leaders.
Yeah.
And like, 10, 12 of you go and mastermind together. Do you do anything like that? Like, do you have masterminds that you're a part of?
I am not right now. I have in the past, but I'm not right now. I think sometimes that we can get too diluted, and my personality, every single time, like even from this conversation, I'm being sharpened and I'm getting ideas as we're talking. So I can be talking to another agent on the phone, or I can be like crossing paths with, or in a mastermind or at a conference or whatever, and my coaching, and you walk away, you literally feel like your head's gonna explode because there's so many things. And so what I've tried to do this year is actually scale back my exposure to all these different things so that I can go further, go a little bit further. But I do believe it's important. So I think you just have to figure out what's the best ways for me to grow. And if you're not paying for coaching, then get into a mastermind, or if you can do both. But the problem is that we get ourselves into too many different things, going to conferences, masterminds, coaching, one-on-ones, this person for lunch, that person for lunch, and we walk away and our heads are so full of ideas and things, and then we never execute. And so my goal my goal right now is really execution. So sometimes I've even said to my coach, like, I pay a good amount of money for a 30-minute call, and 10 minutes in I have 2 ideas, and I'm like, okay, can we hang up now? Because even though I'm wasting 20 minutes of my money, because I just know that I need to implement those 2 things as opposed to talking about anything else or any other ideas. I think execution is such a thing that we miss in this business, because we get so, to use your word, shiny object, idea, mastermind. And so all those things are important. Just really, really do 1 or 2 and do them really well and execute on them. Yeah. That was a big long ramble, sorry. But
it works.
No, but you know what I mean.
No, it's true. So because I've done this show now with a lot of top producers, and then just in general, we talk to a lot of top producers, we work with them, so we've gotten to know quite a bit. And one thing I've noticed, different than most agents, is how much time they put into like the client experience. So it's not like lead generation, it's not all that other stuff, it's just how does the client experience from like when they sign until like even after they've moved in. So like, how have you guys gone about building your client experience?
We've tried to systematize as much as we can without making it feel systematized to the client. But a lot of what I feel is client experience really comes down to how you treat them, how you help them understand what's going to happen next, so how you educate them, and then how you just like overall make them feel. So we've done that in a few ways. We've done that in like a lot of really streamlined communication. So we have a phenomenal amount of systematized communication for like every little detail. We like little things like a client will absolutely know, like when we've signed a listing and then everything, they're provided like a complete work back, so they know exactly what's going to happen next over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is. Oh my goodness, I don't even know. It's just, it's more so too, just like, it's the little things. It's like, it's offering to pay for parking. It's sending them instructions of where to park prior to going to a showings. It's really listening through the entire transaction process and then customizing a closing gift to something that really relates to what it is that they would, what would really touch them. And most of all, it's like providing value through knowledge and just being really prepared and really knowledgeable. So we really pride ourselves in really understanding, you know, and knowing what's going on in the industry and offering that to our clients. Like I think everything from how they're communicated with to what they receive to how they're educated through the entire process. I mean, it's sort of a big picture package, if you will. I'm probably answering way too high level. It's funny when someone asks you that question, like, you know, like, because you're in it day in and day out, and all the things that we do to create experience. Yeah, for sure. And we get like rave reviews from our clients and a lot of repeat business. But when you're asked on the spot, you're like, oh, what do we do? Anyways, yeah. So
I know what happens a lot in this industry. Kind of like the running joke is you get $40 a month to death because of all the different subscriptions and all that. What does the like North Group tech stack look like? Because we already talked about like Asana and Slack. What else are you guys using?
We're big Curator clients, so we would spend the majority of our tech money on that. There's so much more to Curator than I think what the industry recognizes, which is a website platform and a back end for capturing leads and, you know, all those and ads and things like that. But we've really learned how to become effective marketers and effective communicators through marketing with them. So, and you know, I mean, you're, you know, as we have with your company as well. So it's just, marketing is just different now. Like how you communicate in a Facebook ad and how you send a segmented email. You know, gone are the days of like, hey, let's blast our entire database with this one property. You know, unless you're like hyper local and niche and things like that, then, you know, that's different. But, you know, we're now a very segmented team where we have a Toronto-based team and then we have, you know, in the suburbs, et cetera. And so we're constantly segmenting and figuring out how do we market effectively to those different groups.
So how have you guys set it up from that perspective? Because like there's the North Group website. Mm-hmm. How have you set it up so like you have like Brampton? Do you just like copy that website and just do like North Group Brampton, or how are you setting that up?
Yeah, so we don't have this figured out yet by any stretch of the means, and we have some plans that I can't really get into right now. But right now, the way it's set up is that with our small teams that are partners that have come on board that already had an existing business and existing website, we've converted that website from like it's hyper local, so we want to maintain that obviously. And then we've converted that website to a North Group branding of sorts, and we point the URL that, like, let's just say North Group Mississauga to that website. And then our northgroup.com website strictly looks at like the big picture of what we're doing overall as a company. We have plans to evolve that obviously, but that's where we're at right now.
So before I came, I asked people if they had any questions for you. And I think we've covered...
And nobody had any questions?
Yeah, no, none, we're done. But literally the first one was, I can't think of anything, but I have so many things I want to know. And I was like, that's very helpful.
Thank you, Andrew.
Different Andrew, not me.
No, yeah, that's right. I love Andrew Perry. Yeah. I'm going to call him out.
So we've covered most of them, but one came from Chuck. How do you define leadership, and what are some things that you do to show up as the best leader for your team?
Chuck. What was the question again?
Oh, I gotta open that up again.
Sorry. Oh, your kids are so cute.
I agree.
How does she define leadership, and what are some of the things she does to show up as the best leader for her team? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I would probably say that that centers around taking personal responsibility. Like that's at the end of the day, that's where like true leadership lies. The more we can ask ourselves, how can I be better? How could I have fixed this? How could I have done this differently? How could I improve? Whether it's from how I'm handling a deal to how I'm working with an agent to the agent that just left my team, like why, you know, am I as a leader casting enough vision and enough of a plan and enough opportunity and creating enough of a partnership and a collaboration that people will want to work with me or with North Group. I heard a line once where somebody said, like, if you're going to be a leader, you need to be a president. And it kind of came into the context that when you're a leader, you show up presidential. Like when you own and operate a real estate team, you show up presidential. Are there moments when I want to like jump off my terrace and be like, this is so annoying or so frustrating or so hard? Absolutely. Yeah. Is that my team's problem? Definitely not. There's just so many opportunities to be constantly acting and being presidential. Like you cannot wear your heart on your sleeve. Like it's good to be authentic and to be real. Nobody's perfect, that's for sure. But in how we respond and how we react, like it comes down to that basic comment or that basic slogan that we hear all the time, that life is, 90% or 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it, right? So yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's just leadership is about being the best version of you possible, and that comes from a never-ending self-reflection and internal like self-analysis, personal development that way. So I think I'm kind of rambling, but you know what I mean.
Makes sense. Yeah. So one fun question to wrap up. You obviously sold for a while, did a lot of deals. What's the weirdest thing that ever happened during a showing?
Oh gosh. Like the weirdest?
Like I saw a guy naked in a shower when I was selling.
Yeah, that's never happened to me. These stories where people are like, yeah, I walked in and they were making out, or this person would just walk to the shower. It's never happened to me. I think I went to a listing appointment once with a hoarder.
Yeah.
And I didn't take my shoes off, which I've never not done in any other listing appointment. So hundreds of properties, and I've always taken my shoes off. Even if they say to leave them on, I always insist. It's just, for me, that's like my way of showing respect and polite. It was so disgusting. I didn't even
and shower.
Yeah, I didn't even want to sit down. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Yeah, it was. I can still see it in my head to this day.
Haunts me.
And I don't even know if that's because everybody's had that experience, I'm sure. But yeah, nothing too crazy, to be honest. I mean, yeah, moments when I've been like, I learned very on. I did an open house once about the importance of realtor safety. So man, oh man, I was so scared that time, and I've never either now like. Our agents open house with another agent, or somebody else knows where they are during that time, and they keep their phone and their keys like right in their hand. They stay by the door. Yeah, just all the little tips. But man, oh man, that was a scary moment for sure.
Yeah, fair. And so if people want to get a hold of you.
Yeah, for sure.
How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, my cell phone. You can text me anytime. 416-624-8854. Amy, AMY @northgroup.com. Facebook. Feel free to add me, and Instagram @Amy Youngren _.
Perfect.
That's it. Yeah.
It's
awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Oh yeah. Oh, thanks for opening up your house during the air show.
That's right. Actually, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, I love that was one of my favorite things when I lived in Liberty Village. So I had like a south-facing balcony, the 22nd floor, just overlooked the airport perfectly. And I remember like the week leading up, I just worked from home, sit on the deck, watch the fighter jets go by. Loved it.
It's awesome.
Stay tuned for next week.
We're still going.
I'm gonna have to edit a little bit there. Yeah. We'll see what the editor decides. But yeah, so stay tuned for next week when I have another guest that I have not decided who it is yet. So thanks for tuning in.
I'm gonna make a suggestion.